Hello, friends. How are you? Today we are going to speak a little bit in English. The idea is to speak as much as I can and reading this book, this new book that I have already mentioned in some videos before. And the idea is start reading. And in case I have some question how to pronounce, then I will check in the mobile phone in the application of Google in order to make sure.
In order to, se dice con el
I'm
fin de
sorry.
inglés.
Yes, this is the Nest Mini of Google that is participating also. I don't know how I'm going to manage this. Okay, let's start from the beginning of the book. Introduction. Chapter 1, botany and introduction. Botany, I think botany is okay, no? Let's check. Botany.
Botany.
Botany and introduction. A change of habitat. Although plants are primarily adapted for life on land, some, such as the hardy water lily, Nymphea fabiola, this is Latin, have returned to an aquatic existence. Aquatic is okay. Let's check. Aquatic.
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 Aquatic. Aquatic. Aquatic existence. Evidence of its ancestors' sojourn on land includes a water-resistant waxy means cera in Spanish. Outer lawyer. Lawyer, liar, liar. Lawyer is abogado. Liar is capa. Or cuticle. Cuticle. Let's check. Cuticula. Cuticle. Cuticula.
Cuticle.
Really different.
Cuticle.
Cuticle. I was really wrong. Cuticle, as well as stomata. I don't used to use this. I don't used to use this word. So it's normal. Stomas. Stomata.
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 Stomata. Stomata. I was also wrong. It's stomata. Stomata through which gases are exchanged, and a highly developed, remember, is ed, and in ed, developed. Let's try. Let's check. Let's check if it is okay or not. Developed.
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 Developed. No, is the. Developed.
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 Developed. Have you seen? In only one small paragraph, we are finding a lot of words differently to be pronounced, okay, in a different way that as I was suggesting. and a highly developed internal transport system. Okay, so let's try again. Let's see if it is possible to do now wrong, or sorry, to, to do it right. Botany, an introduction. A change of habitat. Although plants are primarily adapted for life on land, some, such as the hardy water lily, have returned to an aquatic existence. Evidence of its ancestors' sojourn on land includes a water-resistant waxy. I passed through this, but I have to check also. Waxy, de cera, waxy, yeah, it's okay. Waxy outer layer, waxy outer layer or cuticle, as well as stomata through which gases are exchanged, and a highly developed, remember, developed internal transport system. Okay, it's little quite tough, but it's the only way to learn to pronounce. You just have to take a text, read in a book, and then in case you have some, let's say, agitation, you have some question, if it is okay or not, you just simply can check with the mobile application of English application of Google. And then you listen and then you repeat again. And that's the way of fixing correctly the way of how pronunciation should be done. Okay, friends, let's try to follow a little bit more. The only problem here is the microphone is so big that makes me difficult to read and to, let's say, move this big book. So what drives life is a little current kept out by the sunshine, wrote Nobel laureate Albert Svens Georgi. With this simple sentence, he summed up one of the greatest marvels of evolution, photosynthesis. During the photosynthesis process, radiant energy from the sun is captured and used to form the sugars on which all life, including our own, depends. Oxygen, also essential to our existence, is released as a byproduct. The little current begins when a particle of light strikes a molecule of the green pigment chlorophyll. Let's check. Chlorophyll. Chlorophyll.
Chlorophyll. Chlorophyll.
Chlorophyll. Boosting one of the electrons in the chlorophyll to a higher energy level. The excited electron, in turn, initiates a flow of electrons that ultimately, this is always a question. Ultimately, that ultimately converts the radiant energy from the sun to the chemical energy. You have to balance a little bit. It's like a music. That in turn, no, sorry, the little turn. Boosting one of the little current begins when a particle of light strikes a molecule of the green pigment chlorophyll, boosting one of the electrons in the chlorophyll to a higher energy level. The excited electron, in turn, initiates a flow of electrons that ultimately converts the radiant energy from the sun to the chemical energy of sugar molecules. Sunlight striking the leaves of the water lily sown evolve. For example, is the first step in the process leading to production of the molecules that make up the flowers, leaves, and stems, as well as all the molecular components that allow the plants to grow and develop. Okay, I think that this second paragraph was much more easier. Let's say I have to, let's say, confess that this is experimental video, sorry. And I'm trying to do my best, but I realize that I'm normally, when I speak English, I use, let's say, the sentence I have, let's say, proof. I have proven quite a lot in the past. Have really well proved. Not in this moment. In this moment, I'm, let's say, reading a book that is quite new for me, the vocabulary, and so it's normal that it's always to be a little tough at the beginning. Only a few types of organisms, plants, algae, let's check, algae. Yes, because this is the kind of word.
Algae.
No, it's so simple, but plants, algae, and some bacteria. Bacteria. Let's see. Bacteria. Let's see.
Bacteria.
Only a few types of organisms, plants, algae, and some bacteria possess chlorophyll, which is essential for our living cell to carry out photosynthesis. Once light energy is trapped in chemical form, it becomes available as an energy source to all other organisms, including human. H at the beginning is like including human beings. We are totally dependent on photosynthesis, a process for which plants are exquisitely, let's try this, exquisitely, exquisitely. It's quite similar to Spanish in this word, but the pronunciation maybe is something else. Exquisitely.
Exquisitely.
Ooh, quite different.
Exquisitely.
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 Exquisitely. Ooh, yeah. How you sing is really, really different. Exquisitely. Which plants are exquisitely adapted? The word botany comes from the Greek botany, meaning plant. Derived. How is derived? This sounds easy, but at the end, derived. Derived. Oof. Let's see.
Derived. Derived. Derived.
Derive. Ooh, quite different too. Derive is like no I in the middle. Derive from the verb boscine, to feed. Plants, however, enter our lives in innumerable. What could be? Let's see. In
Enumerable. Enumerable.
innum
Enumerable. Enumerable.
innumerable, incredible is something new. Innumerable ways other than a source of food. They provide us with fiber for clothing, wood for furniture, shelter, and fuel, paper for books, such as the page you are reading at this moment, spices for flavor. Let's check this. Flavor. Sabor. Tasting.
Flavor.
Okay. Oof. Yeah, for time to time, quite okay. For flavor. Drugs for medicines. Medicines. Let's check.
Medicines.
Medicines. No, medicines. Where drugs for medicines and the oxygen we breathe. Breathe. But breathe is breathing, breathe or breathe. Let's check. Breathe. Aliento, breathe. Let's have a look.
Breath.
Breath. Ni breathe, ni breathe. Breath. Attention, please, is something that you have to check. You You have to read quite a lot, but reading is not enough. Reading is good for learning new vocabulary, to practice your vocabulary, whatever. But the main point, if you want to pronounce properly, is do that something similar to this, is take an English book, start reading, and every time you have some question about the pronunciation, you have to stop, look for the word, find the word, sorry, then listen how to pronounce properly with this Google application or similar, and then repeat and repeat again. And for sure, you are going to fail surely next time. Tomorrow, you read again, most probably you will fail again. But it's time to start, let's say, uh, introducing, repeating this by every week, every day, as much as possible, in order to create some habit with this. But for sure, you are going to improve, for sure, quite a lot. Um, Plants also have enormous sensory appeal. Sorry, breath. So drugs for medicines. Let's see, medicines, and the oxygen we breathe. We are utterly or utterly. Let's have a look to this. Means absolutamente.
Utterly.
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 Utterly. Utterly. Utterly. Oh my God. Utterly. How can English speakers understand us when we speak? So maybe the reason is because we speak with foreign English, because foreign English speakers, or maybe because, I don't know, it's casualty, because it's incredible.
Utterly.
Utterly. We are utterly dependent on plants. Plants also have enormous sensory appeal, and our lives are enhanced by the gardens, parks, and wilderness areas available to us. The study of plants has provided us with great insight into the nature of all life, and will continue to do so in the years ahead. And now let's going to try to go a little more faster. And with genetic engineering and other forms of modern technology, we have entered the most exciting period in the history of botany, where plants can be transformed. Eh? Let's have a check. Let's check this.
Transformed.
Transformed. Okay, now it's clear. Where plants can be transformed, for example, to resist disease, kill pests, produce vaccines, manufacture biodegradable. Let's check this. Biodegradable. Maybe it's not.
Biodegradable. biodegradable, biodegradable,
biodegradable, biodegradable. Attention, eh? Biodegradable, biodegradable. Incredible. Sorry, what's going on there? Okay. Biodegradable plastic tolerate high salt soils, resist freezing, and provide higher levels of vitamins and minerals in food products such as maize, or maize. Let's have a look. Oh my God. How much I'm learning today. Let's have a look to this.
maize,
Maize, such as maize or corn and rice. Ooh. So the checkpoints in these lessons are going to be the following. Let's finish in these text points, but let's go a little bit more. These 5 checkpoints. After reading this chapter, you should be able to answer the following. Why do biologists believe that all living things on Earth today share a common ancestor? 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 Ancestor or ancestor? Let's check. Ancestor. Ancestor or ancestor?
ancestor,
Ancestor.
ancestor,
Ancestor. So, share a common ancestor. Second, what is the principal difference between a heterotroph or heterotroph? Hetero or hetero? Let's have a look. Heterótrofo. Even in Spanish, it's difficult to know the meaning of this. No, I think I have not. Wait. And no.
heterotroph, heterotroph, heterotroph,
Heterotroph. Hetero. He. No. He. Heterotroph. But smooth. Heterotroph. So the question was the second, no? What is the principal difference between a heterotroph and an autotroph and autotroph? Auto is without H at the beginning, so autotroph. And what role did each play? What role did each play? Did each play on the early Earth? Third, why is the evolution of photosynthesis though to be such an important event? To be such an important like French, an important event in the evolution of life in general. What were some of the problems encountered? encountered by plants as they made the transition from the sea to the land, and what structures interterrestrial plants evolucionó, evolve. Let's check. Evolved, evolucionado,
evolved, evolved,
evolve,
evolved, evolved,
evolve,
evolved,
evolved, evolved. Really tough for me. Evolved, plants evolved to solve those problems. What are biomass and what are the principal roles of plants in an ecosystem? What are biomass? No. What are biomes? Because it's a new word for me. Biomass. What are biomes?
biomes,
Biomes.
biomes,
What are biomes and what are the principal roles of plants in an ecosystem? Okay, it's incredible. I think this kind of exercise is one of the best exercises you can do one Saturday during the evening. Saturday evening is perfect. If you just need let's say, a calm place, good light, maybe one coffee. Yes, why not a big coffee? And a great book. Why not? The book is really important that you are really motivated, to read this, because this is one key point. You have to have real interest about what you are reading. Otherwise, this exercise makes, let's say, it's not going to be very, very productive for you. Let's continue a little bit more, because now I think we can start with the evolution of plants. Life originated early in Earth's geologic history. This is really curious that life was quite next to the origin of the Earth. So Earth and life, okay, it's not possible to be at the same time because of the temperatures, but as soon as the temperature dropped down a little bit, life starts in the Earth. And listen, because this is the part of the book I like. One of my favorite parts of the book. Like all other living organisms, plants have had a long history during which they evolve or change it over time. The planet Earth itself, an accretion of dust and gases swirling in orbit around this star that is our sun, is some 4.6 billion years old. It is believed that Earth sustained a lethal meteor bombardment that ended about 3.8 to 3.9 billion years ago. Vast chunks of rubble slammed into the planet, helping to keep it hot. As the molten Earth began to cool, I mentioned that, violent storms raged, accompanied. Let's check this, because for sure I have failed some of these, some other word, but this one I'm not going to pass through it.
Accompanied.
Okay, was okay. Accompanied by lighting and the release of electrical energy and widespread volcanism, spewed. I don't know even what does it mean. Spewed. It's like, maybe it's like launch or something like this. It sounds like this, but yes, it's like vomito. So how is this?
Spewed.
Spewed. Yes, it's very, yes, you can recognize. Spewed molten rock and boiling water from beneath todos a mí. From beneath bajo, por debajo de la superficie. Beneath yes. Beneath, the point is that it's like a false friend, no? Not exactly, but beneath the Earth's surface. The earliest known fossils? Fossils, maybe.
Fossils.
Much more easy. Fossils are found in rocks of Western Australia, yes, about 3.4 billion years old. These microfossils consist of, remember, consist of, always are together, consist of several kinds of small, relatively simple microorganisms resembling bacteria about the same age as these microfossils are ancient stromatolites. Stromatolites is like a Italian food. Stromatolites. But let's check, because this is very, very specific. Let's see what these little stromatolitos. Even in Spanish, I don't know what's the meaning of this. My God.
Stromstolites.
No. I have stromatolites.
Stromatolites.
So stromatolites, fossilized, or fossilized. It sounds like fossilized. fossilized,
fossilized,
fossilized, fossilized, fossilized, microbial, 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 micro is okay, microbial, 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 microbial or microbial, microbial mats consisting of layers of filamentous, filamentus, filamentus, filamentus or filamentus, filamentus or filamentus, filamentus, filamentoso.
filamentous,
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 filamentous, filamentous, filamentous. Yeah, at the beginning. This kind of words you have to put the strong part at the beginning. Filamentous and other microorganisms and trapped sediment. Stromatolites. Now I remember stromatolites. You see, continue to be formed today in a few places, such as in the warm, shallow oceans of the shores, las costas of Australia, and the Bahamas. It's like a song. By comparing the ancient stromatolites with modern ones, which are formed by cyanobacteria, filamentous photosynthetic bacteria, scientists have concluded that the ancient stromatolites were formed by similar bacteria. Whether life originated on Earth, originated or originated. Yeah, this is quite common word, but always with the same question.
originated, 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 originated,
Originated or originated.
originated,
Oh,
originated,
originated, originated, originated,
originated,
originated. Whether life originated on Earth or reached Earth through space in the form of spores, spores, resistant spores.
spores,
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 spores. In the form of spores, resistant reproductive cells, or by some other means is problematic. Life may have formed on Mars. Life may have formed on Mars, en Marte. For example, whose early history paralleled that of Earth at the same time. Strong evidence first discovered by the Opportunity rover in 2004 indicated that water once flowed, inundó o cubrió, flowed, recorrió, ¿no? Surcó Let's have a look to this flow, because flow is flow, but with ed at the end is float, float. Fluyó,
flowed,
float,
flowed,
float, float,
flowed,
float, float. Where I was, water once flowed across the planet, raising the possibility that at one time Mars could have supported life. In 2008, the Phoenix Mars. Let's continue. Have you seen? We are in the next page. Page number 4. The lander, the Phoenix Mars lander, found water ice in abundance near the surface. Moreover, its instruments monitor a diurnal. Let's have a look. Diurno. Yeah, that's right. It's okay.
diurnal,
Ooh, attention, we have found a 3 points word pronunciation. This is really strange.
diurnal, diurnal, diurnal,
Diurnal. It's like Diana, diurnal. Ooh. Moreover, its instruments monitored a diurnal water cycle, water vapor originating from the swallow's subsurface water, ice, and from water clinging to soil grains. Clinging or clinging? Clinging. Pegajoso.
clinging,
Clinging. This is quite simple. This is like German. Clinging to soil grains is released into the Martian atmosphere during the morning hours, and at night it condenses and falls out by gravity. Most of the ice crystals or crystals. It seems like crystals, but crystals or crystals.
crystals,
Crystals, much more easy. Most of the ice crystals evaporate as they fall through the atmospheric boundary layer. Boundary layer, no lawyer. Lawyer is abogado. Layer, capa. But snowfall on Mars has been observed. Snowfall on Mars. Can you believe that? Snowing on Mars. No organic molecules or traces of previous or present biological activity were detected at the Phoenix landing site. However, one would expect organic molecules to be present in the Martian soil, given the steady influx of certain types of meteorites that contain considerable quantities of organic material. Meteorites that fall to Earth contained amino acid, amino or amino amino,
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 amino, amino y a ti tampoco. Amino acids. Contained amino acids and organic carbon molecules such as formaldehyde, 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 formaldehyde or formaldehyde, or formaldehyde, formaldehyde, formaldehído, pero formaldehyde,
formaldehyde,
formaldehyde, hide. Very, 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 very unexpected. Formaldehyde. Formaldehyde. Okay, so carbon molecules such as formaldehyde. We will continue to assume, however, that life on Earth originated on Earth. So life on Earth originated on Earth. This is the, let's say, hypothesis that this book is working with. In 2011, NASA's Mars Reconnaissance Orbiter satellite found evidence of liquid water flowing down slopes and crater walls during the warm month on Mars. The liquid is thought to be highly salty and to occur just below the surface, where it is protected from freezing in the frigid temperatures found on Mars and from evaporating in the planet's low air pressures. Evaporating or evaporating. Always, one of my questions is always related to where I should put the stress. Evaporating. Evaporando. Yes, now the meaning is clear.
evaporating, evaporating,
Evaporating,
evaporating,
evaporating, from evaporating in the planet's low air pressures. Pressures. Pressures, 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 pressures.
pressures,
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 pressures, low air pressures. These findings further raise the possibilities of finding possibilities of finding life on Mars. Okay, so we are 54 minutes reading a book and trying to do as much as possible, as good as possible, but you never know. Let's try to with this last paragraph, and then next week we will follow, or maybe in a few days. Yes, most likely the forerunners of the first cells were simple aggregations of molecules. According to current theories, organic molecules formed by the action of lighting, rain, and solar energy on gases in the environment or spewed out of hydrothermal vents accumulated in the oceans. Some organic molecules have a tendency to aggregate in groups, and these groups probably took the form of droplets, similar to the droplets, gotitas, formed by oil in water. Such assemblages, but how is this pronounced? I don't know. Assemblages. Ensamblajes, but assemblages.
Assemblages. Assemblages.
Assemblages. Such assemblages of organic molecules appear to have been the forerunners of primitive cells, the first forms of life. Sidney W. Fox and his co-workers at the University of Miami produced proteins that aggregated into cell-like bodies in water, called proteinoid microspheres. Oof, this is for sure not like this. Proteinoid proteinoide.
Protenoid. 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 Protenoid.
Protenoid. Unbelievable. Called proteinoid microspheres, microspheres, proteinoid, microspheres. You see?
Microspheres.
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 Microspheres. Microspheres. Microspheres. I can feel it. Every time I do it better, I feel like much more English speaker, for sure. But then I find a new difficult word, and then it's like, oh my God, I'm not doing such fine as I like. These bodies grow slowly by the accumulation of additional proteinoid material. You see, proteinoid material, and eventually, but of smaller microspheres. Microspheres. Although Fox likened this process to a type of reproduction, the microspheres are not living cells. Some researchers have suggested that clay, arcilla in Spanish, that clay particles or even bubbles may have played a role in life's origin on Earth by collecting chemicals and concentrating them for synthesis into complex molecules. According to current theories, these organic molecules may also have served as the source of energy for the earliest forms of life. The primitive cells or cell-like structures were able to use these abundant compounds to satisfy the energy requirements. As they evolved and became more complex, these cells were increasingly, okay, increasingly. Cada vez más, yes, de forma incrementadamente, ¿no? Increasingly.
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 Increasingly. Okay, it's like it's written. Increasingly able to control their own destinies. With this increasing complexity, they adquirieron adquirido,
Acquired. Acquired.
acquired,
Acquired.
acquired, they acquired the ability to grow, to reproduce, and to pass on their characteristics to subsequent generations. Heredity, because it's H at the beginning, heredity. Together with cellular organization, these properties characterize all living things on Earth. Today, just about all organisms use an identical genetic code to translate DNA into proteins. Proteins or proteins? Proteins or proteins? Proteins. I think it's proteins. Yes, because proteins, no. Proteins.
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 Proteins. Pro is with U. You. Proteins. Proteins. Oh my God. Yeah. Whether they are fungi, plants, or animals, it seems quite clear, therefore, that life as we know it, emerged on Earth only once, and that all living things share a common ancestor, a DNA-based microbe that lived more than 3.5 billion years ago, near the end of on the origin of species. Charles Darwin, Charles Darwin wrote, probably all the organic beings which have ever lived on this earth have descended from some one primordial form into which life was first breathed. Let's check this. Breathed. Respiró. Breathed.
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 Breathed. Breathed.
Breathed.
Breathed.
Breathed.
Breathed. Breathed.
Breathed.
Breathed. It's like I cannot.
Breathed.
Breathed. Was first breathed. Okay, incredible. This is quite interesting, let's say, reading book. It's not really, it's also a studying book because it's one of the most important books I have ever found related to botanics. As I mentioned in another video, I was looking for some, let's say, deep knowledge about how plants work. How is possible that these plants are so important for us, but how they work? How is possible that only considering water, water from the rain, then is the sun, and then they can manufacture sugars, and at the same time they can, let's say, turn CO2, carbon dioxide, into oxygen, so they can revert what we need, because in your breath we use oxygen. And okay, how is possible that these small and big plants can do this chemical complex process? Because the complexity of the chemical part is real. It's not nothing that I'm inventing now. It's something much more complex that I can explain in a simple diagram. So for me, it's amazing. It's amazing, this world of the plant, especially. Everything is amazing for sure. You know that I'm in the channel all the time trying to explain you in the most simple way the everything related to engineering, related to geostrategy, related to the books I'm reading all the time during the year. But after all, the plant is something that is out of this world. Absolutely. For me, this is one of my favorite that, of course, I started just as a hobby, talking on Saturdays in the culture, estrategias diarias, cultura, and also in the main channel, estrategias diarias, talking about my plants, some curiosities, speaking how to protect, how to recover in case of your plants are, let's say, little dry, or some plagues have attacked. But okay, these are small peanuts for me. But once you go deeper and deeper in the plants, you discover that this is not only a question of decoration or make your place much more greener. It's much more. Is technology, high technology, high standards. We have to know how this business is working. Why? Because the future, for sure, in Mars and in Venus is going to use humankind is going to use this information in order to, let's say, live on Mars or live in another planet, because we need to build up and make, let's say, make possible the regeneration of the atmosphere. Once we live there, we have to, let's say, we cannot pick up new oxygen or water from another place. For sure, at the beginning we will do, but after some time, we need a system that is let's say, self-standing. I don't know how to say exactly. Okay, friends, I hope this first program related to plants and also related to reading books in English and trying to improve your pronunciation. The idea behind this is that I know that I can speak little bit, not so bad, in order to work and to collaborate with many people. Of course, this biology, let's say, biological vocabulary is not my specialty. So, for sure, I need to learn much more. But of course, also, um, I have to do this exercise, and I think that it could be also good for you to listen this. If you do by yourself, it's okay, and maybe it's also very interesting for you just listening these kind of programs that I'm going to do every Saturday. uh, it's good for me because then I read this book with you, and also in case I have questions about pronunciation, I use this tool that nowadays is miracle for all of us, free of charge, and we can improve our English. Yes, of course, you can say, okay, the Google is speaking quite in auto mode, so I don't need really to learn English. I don't need to speak too much because always I have some application, or I have or by written form is enough for me because I can manage. Okay, so the communication is not, skills are quite enough. Just, but the problem is that if you want to connect with another foreign people, the language is what really makes you the real connection happen. Otherwise, it's like just imagine that I'm talking to this person, and this person is all the time writing in the phone every time he wants to tell me something. So there is no visual contact, there is no communication, let's say, at the same time. It's not brain connection at the end. So you have to speak English for sure. Is a question of, okay, learning in some place, but then putting in practice. Because one of the major problem in, for example, in countries like Spain, is that you don't need to speak English, not for watching TV, not for watching cinema, not for reading books, because everything is translated. The only moment that you think about English is when some foreign people came here, or you have to go abroad to travel to, or to work. And then it's like, oh my god, what's going on? I don't know even to pronounce the name of the city I'm traveling to. So if you really want to be a good, let's say, traveler or a good worker, you need to practice, and you have to force yourself to practice. And to practice, you need to read books, and you need to have conversation with somebody else. Of course, it's very difficult because at home maybe you speak quite a lot, but nobody else do. So what to do? So I recommend you listening, for example, news in English, You can use plenty, let's say, podcast in English also. Okay, this kind of, you have to use your imagination as much as possible. But for sure, this is just to keep the level or to avoid that the level drops down too much. But for sure, you are not going to improve level. To improve level, your English level, you have to make something else, more, let's say, work. You have to put new vocabulary. You have to be constant. You have to, let's say, listen a lot, quite a lot, not only films, but also songs, but also news, and every day, at every moment you can feel and practice walking, talking. You have to talk, because otherwise, if you don't talk, it's not so efficient, because at the end it's not a question of listening. Listening is okay, reading is okay, but talking is when you make your best with the language. So I really recommend you to follow or to comment in the video if you consider that something else can be done from my part in order to help you. Okay, this is a really small channel, and my idea is to motivate you with some ideas in order to improve everybody, to be better, by always using the being constant, having a plan, and working tough on this. In this case, reading. And okay, now I'm trying to speak a little more because I feel okay, quite calm now. There are no so big noises now in the area, because okay, now it's calm. So I'm expending a little bit more time talking with you. But okay, we are finishing. The program is 1 hour, 17 minutes and 38 seconds. Is a record. Is the longest video I have ever recorded. So I'm quite happy. Of course that I'm little bit, okay, we reach 1 hour 18 minutes, and then we say see you in my next video very soon in these estrategias diarias, daily strategies channel, and daily strategies culture, and daily strategies engineering. I hope you subscribe to my channel and also follow my new premieres. Okay, see you very soon, and goodbye. Have a good Saturday and a good weekend, the rest of the weekend for sure. Okay, goodbye.